Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Freedom System. This is Rick and Lee, and Lee looks a little different today because he's on vacation. We have head coach Rushele from Tim and Julie Harris Coaching, and my former coach, wonderful woman. Welcome, Rushele.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Lee and I talk all the time about how we've received a lot of coaching, and I received a lot of good coaching for you. So, such an honor to have you on here. And we're just going to kind of pour into people today as kind of impromptu, what we see fit, what's working today, what's not working today. I know many people in the sort of the western side are going to be having a snow day today, so maybe your juggling kids are going to watch this on replay. But you're welcome anytime. And Rushele, tell us a little bit about yourself so people who don't know you can get acquainted.
Absolutely. I am Ruschele Abbruzzese. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and I am a real estate coach as well as a full-time real estate agent. Been in the business about 25 years and have been coaching since I believe 2006. So very busy.
Very busy. So, what are you? You're a full time agent. How are you doing your own lead generation? I mean, if you are so busy, you're coaching, you've got other things going on in your life. How do you find time to prospect, and what works for you today?
So I follow a schedule. I think that's one of the most important things is to time block and follow a schedule and know what you're going to do the day before you actually do it. So
Mm.
I like to write down at least five mini goals each day that I plan to finish by the end of the day. That works for me. It works for a lot of my students. But as far as lead generation, with being in real estate 25 years, I'm very fortunate to have a center of influence and a past client base, and I'm very relational with my real estate. So a lot of people know me. I get leads that way. However, I do follow my own advice that I give to my students with the mini goals. Those mini goals can be 5 phone calls a day, 5 business cards handed out a day, 5 door knocks a day, 5 pop-bys a day, 5 calls to expireds, whatever it might be. I have found that if you have little mini goals, it's a lot easier to get those finished and move on and feel like you really accomplished something at the end of the day. Does that make sense?
It does. I like that because we talk a lot about. I mean, we have some people on like Lee's an example. He's like he just crushes it for 3 hours, right? And was talking to Jerry Sheets, and he does a lot of production, and he's also like, hey, I'm 90 minutes on this, then I'm 90 minutes on this, and 60 minutes on this. And even an hour time block can sometimes feel like a daunting task to somebody, right?
Right.
I like your mini goals, right? Hey, let's just knock out 5, right? And let's just do 5 of this, and let's just do 5 of this. And that might be more manageable.
I call it the power of five because if somebody told me, hey, you got to get on the phone for 2 hours and you've got to call 50 expireds, I would be like, no, I don't want to. But if they said, you just only have to call 5, it's like, heck, that's attainable. That's easy.
Yeah. And good morning, Matt. One of our listeners, Matt Moss, is here, and he wrote in yesterday that he's like, "Hey, the inspiration of you guys just encouraging me every day right now." He said that got me off to make the call to someone to an expired. He'd call 8 to 10 times, right? Finally got a hold of him, booked 2 appointments, and
Awesome.
that was just awesome to hear because 2 appointments in a lot of markets, let's just even say that's $400,000 home sale at an
Right.
average of a 3% commission. We're not telling you what to charge. That's 12,000 times 2. That's $24,000 that is potentially in someone's pocket for listening to the show and just having a mini goal, just overcoming that one little hurdle of doing the next logical step. And what did Tim and Julie always say about do it? Do what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest possible level.
You don't want it at the highest level. That's right.
So what does that mean?
Great.
What does that mean? Like you've been a head coach for Tim and Julie Harris for many years. What is doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it at the highest possible level? What does that actually mean? Like when you coach that to students, and if we were to share that out there right now, practically and tactically, what does that mean?
It's doing what we don't want to do, even though we're real estate agents and we know we have to prospect and we know we have to make those calls and we know we have to follow a schedule. We don't want to. I don't want to, but you have to. And if you do it, you have to do it at a high level. Don't just pick up the phone and act like you're dying when you're making those calls. Get into your mindset, get happy about what you're doing, understand that you are being of service to other people, and that's what keeps me going. I love going after pre-foreclosures, one of my favorite sources of lead generation, because I know I'm changing somebody's life and I'm helping them. And that makes me feel good.
And that is great.
No, but I do.
I had a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, reach out to me one time. She said, Rick, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this. I said, hey, stays between you and me, right? She's like, I'm 10 days out from a foreclosure auction. Do I have any options? And I looked at the value of her home. I looked at her asset. I looked at the equity she had in her home. And I said, yeah, I can get that sold for you. Like, let's get it to market tomorrow. So we rushed a photo shoot that afternoon, literally went to market that afternoon, had her under contract by the next day. It might have been 48 hours, but we contacted the bank, stalled the foreclosure auction. And instead of losing her asset and ruining her credit, we stalled the bank until the home closed. She paid off her mortgage. She paid off 3 credit cards, had $5,000 walking around money, and was able to rent an apartment because her credit was preserved.
And I bet you felt fantastic helping.
Oh my gosh, did that feel good?
Right.
I just wanted to. I was like, how many more people can I save from this horrible foreclosure experience?
Yeah. Right? I mean, I like to go after leads that I know need my help. And that would be probate. That would be pre-foreclosures. That would be people going through a divorce, people getting married. Those are the type of people that need us. Those are the type of leads I tend to go after.
Yeah. So you're great at pre-foreclosure. How are you going about finding those, right? So like if Matt or Dave or Rushcele or anybody that's listening to the show live or recorded, and if you want to find the show later, always hit the subscribe button, notify whatever you're watching this on. But how do you go about finding those foreclosure leads? Somebody might be like, hey, I need to add a new spoke, right? I've got sphere of influence coming in, but a bicycle wheel with one spoke doesn't go very far. I need 2, 3, 4, 5 spokes, and the more spokes I have, the more solid my wheel. So let's add a pre-foreclosure spoke for somebody.
So there's a couple different ways you can get the leads. I use foreclosure.com. It's not 100% reliable. It's a lot like Zillow. So you might get 80% of the people that are definitely in pre-foreclosure, and you might get 20% that say, I don't know where you got my number, which you know how that goes. You can get them from your title company if your title company is willing to pull those for you. Most courthouses, you can go in and get them because it is public knowledge. You can get them from the courthouse, from your title company, from several websites. I have them all written down up here on my wall. Foreclosure.com, Property Radar, Realty Track, Property Shark. All of those are places that you can get them. Or if you have, I believe, Mojo or what's the other one? Vulcan 7, you can add the pre-foreclosures to that and then use those with the auto dial.
Now, do you call somebody up and say, hey, look, I see they filed for foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. Are you, I mean, oh my God, what's going on? You can't pay your mortgage. Oh, dude, you suck. Is that the script you use?
Not quite. I'm a little softer than that. I have a really good letter that I like to send just to introduce a warm introduction of myself. Sometimes if the auction date is really, really close, I will pick up the phone. And I am very direct, but I'm very soft with my directions. So I will call and say, hi, my name's Ruschele Abbruzzese. Your address came across my desk today as a possible foreclosure. And I'm not sure if anybody has reached out to you and offered you choices, but you do have options. You don't have to just say, go ahead, take my house. Let me come over and discuss what those options are with you and see if I can help you get out of this mess. Does that sound good to you? Not that many people say, I hate you. I hope you die. And this is my favorite saying up here on my wall, but did you die? And I say that to everybody all the time. Make the calls. You're not going to die. you're going to end up helping people. So I always have this on my wall to remind me, I'm not going to die.
But did you die?
Did you
That
die?
was horrible. I had the worst call. But did you die?
Exactly.
I had someone tell me one time, he's like, what's the best case, worst case, and most likely case? And the best case is, they sell their house with you, they refer you 15 of their friends, they throw you a ticker tape parade. The worst case, and everybody's like, oh, they swear at me and they tell me it's horrible. And your but did you die is actually the worst case, right? And he's
Right.
like, no, the worst case is they take out a billboard that says Rick Jansen sucks. Never pick up the phone from 303-589-2320. He's the worst realtor ever. And they take out $1 million worth of Facebook ads.
I
And
was
every
you
one
would
of
do
your
that. That's free publicity for you.
amen, right?
Right.
And the worst, and you realize the worst case is not going to happen. The best case might happen, but not likely. And so the most likely case is they either swear at you or invite you over.
Don't be afraid of
Can you survive that?
Right.
Yeah. And nobody likes rejection.
Right.
But yeah, when you read all these books and it says it takes 7 no's to get a yes, Rushcele, how do you 25 years of rejection later, just keep a smile on your face and be just a life-giving service provider to others when you faced so much rejection over the years?
Because you can't let that weigh you down. It's next. If you win, you win. If you lose, you learn. So you have to lose in order to learn what you're doing wrong, to get better, to shake it off and go to the next one.
When you lose, you learn. I'm typing some of these into the chat.
You win. If you lose, you learn. That's my favorite.
Yeah, when you win, you win. When you lose, you learn. And that's absolutely true. And sometimes it just takes the courage to lose.
That's right.
But even Usain Bolt didn't win every race he ever ran. Michael Jordan didn't sink every basket. Babe Ruth didn't hit every home run. He was the strikeout king, but he was also the home run king. So you have your mini goals, the power of 5. But did you die? You gave some great foreclosure advice, some pre-foreclosure advice. If it's okay with you, I'd like to give just a little plug for coaching in general. Lee and I give some free coaching and training on this show. Coaching with you starts at, $100 a month, no obligation.
It depends on what level. There's 3 different levels. There's a once a month level, then there's bi-weekly, and then there's weekly. So it depends on how much you want. And
I meant for like the group coaching, the premier.
Yeah, I don't know the prices. I don't work in that department. But if anybody on these calls are interested in learning more, I'm happy to do a free coaching call, figure out what your needs are, and help you to decide what would be best for you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. How can someone reach you? What's the cell phone number for you, Rushcele?
Yep, my cell phone is 614-496-6723. Texting is preferable because I'm always on coaching calls, and I'll get back to you right away as soon as I am not on the phone.
And I'm going to put text Rushcele in the comments here. What's that phone number again?
614-496-6723.
6723. Just a little plug for Rushcele. She didn't ask for it, but I like to give back. And if Rushcele is giving you value now, imagine how much more value she's going to give to you on a free coaching call. That being said, you a while back, you were before EXP. Where were you as a brokerage?
14 different ones. I was Prudential, I believe, before EXP, but I've been Remax, Keller Williams, Prudential, Coldwell Banker, you name it, I've been.
Okay, so the nice thing is like the franchise someone's working in, right? Their systems, how they're evolving. You also coach many students that are many. And so you coach people regardless of what brokerage they're in.
Absolutely.
What were you when you were bouncing from brokerage to brokerage, though? And I think a lot of agents do bounce from broker to broker, and they lose a lot of momentum because they're rebuilding systems or rebuilding brand. They're focusing on non-dollar producing activities.
Right.
When you're bouncing brand to brand, what do you find people are shopping for that they're not finding?
Training. That's probably the biggest one. I talk to new students all the time that say, I joined and I'm basically on my own. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to write a contract. Nobody's helping me. I don't know how to get leads. That's probably the biggest complaint that I hear.
Yeah. And so you were a coach with being trained by Tim and Julie, and you were still like, hey, I need to find something better. I need to find something that works for me. Franchises weren't working for you. Why did EXP finally work for you?
EXP, in my opinion, in the 25 years of real estate, is definitely the best brokerage I've worked for. I love their training. You can go anytime you want and go get trained for whatever you're looking for. The support is wonderful. The referrals that everybody sends to each other, the little groups that are formed, and the positivity and uplifting of agents. You never have to worry about being on your own, because you're never on your own. In fact, you're probably going to be with too many people. Even though it's a cloud brokerage, we all tend to stick together as a group and help each other with whatever it is that we need help with. And that's one of the best things about EXP. I love KV Core. I love the stock options, the residual income. I mean, I can go on and on and on. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And so people, I see, some people love it. Some people just see it immediately. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Some
Right.
people kind of come over gradually over the course of years. There's some little haters out there who say you're always into recruiting. How does agent attraction factor into your day when you're in production and you're coaching and you have a life? How do you squeeze in a little agent attraction here and there?
I really don't have to. I know this sounds weird, but I do coach so many people and I host a lot of live Zoom calls, and I offer free coaching calls all the time. So people kind of come to me. I don't really go hard after anybody. They just I have people reach out all the time. Tell me about EXP. Tell me about EXP. And when you tell them about EXP, I mean, it sells itself.
It does. And it's not even selling, it's sharing, right? Because it's like once someone actually takes the time to look at the model, if they're at all open-minded, if there's someone we actually want to work with. I had this conversation with Jerry yesterday. He's like, there are people I don't want to work with. I'll never talk to EXP about them. Right.
Right?
And it's true. Like, this isn't my house behind me, but I do want someone that I could invite over to my house that I actually want to have a beer with, or a glass of wine or coffee.
Right.
Somebody that I would have a meal with and want to meet their significant other and their family, because we're going to be investing in them for the rest of their real estate career. Because once you find this, you don't leave. And that's something powerful right there. So if you're productive as an agent, if you're having more support, if you're having more training, if you're making more money, why would you leave? I think that's why our retention's so high.
One of the benefits of, for instance, joining under myself, I do give everybody under me coaching. So they get that added benefit as well.
That's fantastic, Rushcele. Yeah. Well, and I know you have a coaching call coming up, so I don't want to belabor this for too long. But what, if people might say, well, foreclosures haven't happened for a while. Interest rates have been down. There was a moratorium on foreclosures. Do you see that coming back right now? Do you see the moratorium ending? Did it end when people watch this? Like, let's put a little context around this, because 2008, 2012 was a great market for foreclosures, but is 2022 a great foreclosure market?
Well, let me tell you right now, I'll
I
tell you,
love how facts are going to answer this question, not speculation.
I'm going to tell you right now how many pre-foreclosures are in my neighborhood, just so you can see.
And this is not New York City. This is Ohio.
This is Ohio. Columbus, Ohio. Okay, so I just pulled it up, and I have 239. No, actually, I zoomed out. I have 646.
So you have 646 leads
Yes.
of people you can help get out from under their mess.
Yes.
And guess what? I think there are a lot of people that are in a mess because they've either taken unemployment checks, they've been in forbearance, they've done all these things. Now they're underwater. The magic government bubble is ending. Whoops.
Right. But the good thing is almost all of them have equity. So even though they're in foreclosure status, that's one of the things when you make those calls to them, they don't understand if they have 200,000 in equity. Guess what? Sell your house, take it with you. They don't know that. I
Right.
talked to a lady last week. She is in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. She owes $14,000. Her house is worth $480,000. She was going to let him take it for $14,000.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh. Oh
so
my gosh. What a wonderful gift you're offering people, that you can save them and save their equity. Because there are people out there who just they have teams set up to poach on these people to buy their houses at a
right,
discount so that they can pocket the money that should be in the homeowners, right?
right.
And I'm not poo-pooing investors. I work with a lot of investors. But if we can go in and save that person from that experience. I do remember back in like 2002 to 2004, there were people who would go down, they would go out and they would redeem the second note and let
Right.
the first foreclose, and they would poach the equity that way.
Yep.
There was a big trend of doing that for a while, and I just didn't think that was an ethical way of going
Oh, it's
about business, because you're literally stealing from somebody
right.
when you could be just out there helping somebody for a small percentage to yourself for helping them out of the situation as a professional. So I mean, I imagine that makes your power of five a lot easier,
It
right?
does. I couldn't sleep at night if I wasn't helping someone. So
Yeah.
it feels good.
And so if you're watching, if you're listening to this on an audio later, like you look at Rochelle and she's smiling, she's happy when she's making her calls. I imagine she's smiling and happy because
I
your energy that you bring forward just in how you position yourself on a phone call is going to help. So if you need to stand up, walk about, look at a fluffy kitten poster, whatever makes you happy, like get in that place. Look at your why. If your kids are your why, if your spouse is your why, don't think about debt as your why. Think about your where you want to be and what is motivating you. And we'll end on this, like if your why doesn't make you cry, your why is not big enough. How does somebody tap into their why?
I'm gonna die.
But I'm not gonna die. So how does I know you've got to go for a coaching call, but how does someone tap into their why?
I think there's a couple ways that you can do it. Right now, a group of my coaching students are creating vision boards, and I constantly ask them, "What is your," or as Tim Harris would say, "What is your have to? What do you have to do?" We all have to do something. What is your have to? Which is the same thing as what is your why. So, me personally, I'm raising a baby that's not mine. So, I got custody of my, she's 22 months now, but I've had her since she was 9 months old. And I have a 16-year-old who needs a car. So there's my two whys.
Yeah, and they are adorable. They are adorable.
Thank you.
So one last time, if people want to get a hold of you, what's your cell phone?
614-496-6723. Happy to help any way I can.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And folks, when we talk about the collaboration and the freedom that comes from being part of Libertas, which is our group here at EXP, Libertas means freedom, financial freedom, personal freedom, freedom to have the life you want to live and not live for debt. And the collaboration we're talking about, it's hanging out with people like Coach Rushcele, right? It's hanging out with like Rick&Lee. It's hanging out with a lot of the people you're going to see on this show, Gene Frederick from last Friday. This is the kind of community that you become a part of. And when you become the average of the five people you hang around, just consider
right.
whether these are five people you want to start being around. And we'll bring more on the show. Rushcele, thank you so much for being a part of this and for just
My
freely
pleasure.
giving and for offering a free coaching call. It was very generous of you. I didn't expect that. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Rick. Nice to see you.
All right, good. Have a good day.